And have you talked to, and I asked you this morning, but I got to ask you again, have you talked to GSP since he decided to come back? Did he tell you he's going to come back or no?
I haven't. I found out that recently that he's coming back. And you know what? I've had a lot of people ask me, would you fight him? And, being the welterweight champion, sometimes you have to, there are obligations. But I've known George for a while. And if that did go down, that would be his decision.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was really cool with George before I fought him. George is a nice dude.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Oh, and you trained with him back at TriStar for a little bit, no?
Yeah, for
that's ages ago.
Thiago Alves, John Fitch, Carlos Condit. This was before I was even doing MMA. I was doing kickboxing at the time.
Yeah,
but he'd bring me up there for years, and had a good relationship, and it was cool. That he was kind of my inspiration. I actually switched from kickboxing to mixed martial arts because I found myself doing more of the jiu-jitsu, more of the wrestling, just to be a better sparring partner.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey man, why not make the switch?
Well, guys who like each other. I mean, Arlovsky had to fight Overeem, and they trained together. I mean,
I had to fight Rory, and I've known Rory for years.
And
years, yeah.
That was a very frustrating fight for him.
Yeah.
Was that his last fight in the UFC?
That was.
It was.
Yeah. That was.
And was it hard for you to get, you fight a guy that you know and you like? Is it harder for you to get ready for, or no?
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, once it's set, you have a job. And I felt like if I didn't give 100%, I would be disrespecting him.
If you didn't give 100%. I wonder if it's easier to fight a guy like that in a way, too, because without when you're too angry at somebody or you dislike them too much, we saw Jose Aldo against Conor, it messes you up psychologically, and you probably try to go out and do too much, and you make mistakes.
Yeah.
So if you don't hate the guy.
Yeah, I never not like the guy when I never hate the guy when I walk out there. I think even if they talk a bunch of crap, I'm just like, just go out there and do my thing.
You seem like you're very difficult to rattle because you're a nice guy and it's very genuine, and you seem like other guys don't really get into your head, and you don't seem like you're easy to do psychological warfare against.
And it's kind of hard for them to do that. It's kind of hard for them to find out something, this nice guy. What am I going to say? What am I going to say bad about him?
Right.
But yeah, it does. I've seen a lot of people let that stuff mess with them, and it affects them. And I don't care.
57-0 as a kickboxer.
Yep.
And when you lost the first fight, I guess Matt Brown was your first loss ever. What was that like?
You know what? It was devastating. It was for me. I felt like I let everybody down, myself down. But it was also a blessing because I wouldn't be where I am if it wasn't for that fight. It went back and showed me what I needed to work on, and it told a lot about myself. I was never pushed to the point to where Matt Brown pushed me that fight. It was I was done first 30 seconds in the first round, and mentally I knew I wasn't 100%. Like I was just getting more tired and more tired, but still I gave everything I got, and it told a little bit about told myself what I was capable of, even when I'm in a position where most people would quit.
And there was no temptation because again, we've seen a few people where they lose a fight after going 10-0 or 12-0, and it's just like, look at Holly. I mean, even though she's fought very tough and she went out punching against Misha and then she lost 2 decisions, sometimes it seems like it can get in someone's head and they just have a hard time, and you didn't seem to have a hard time winning at all.
I got good people around me. Good, positive people, good team. My dad, my coaches back at Upstate Karate Team Pitch Black.
What did your dad say to you?
He smacks me, what are you doing? Nah, he doesn't do that. It was... he's always there, man. He's always there to pick you up. He'll let you know what you do wrong. Obviously, that's just him. He'll tell you like it is. You sucked, then he'll tell you sucked. But it's always in a loving way, and we go back, we look at the fight, and see what we did wrong. Even if it's a first round knockout or a 5-minute round war, there's always something you go back and work on.
What do you think you did wrong against Matt Brown?
It was I definitely had to work on my my takedown defense. I had it. I just didn't have the energy to do it. I was walking around. I had hired a new strength and conditioning coach, had me walk around like 209, and I tried to cut to 170.
Oh, that guy got fucking
and it killed me.
Right now.
Was that his only time as your strength and conditioning coach? Is he still around or no?
No. After that, I left a bad taste in my mouth, and I kind of started doing my own thing. Yeah. And this is the first time, my first camp, I hired a strength and conditioning coach, a guy named Josh Reynolds, who is amazing. He was working with some of our guys back home, and I saw the benefits. They weren't gaining any weight, but they were more explosive. They were faster. I felt strong. So I'm like, I'm going to use this guy, and that's how I feel now. My weight's still good, but I feel more explosive and definitely stronger.
How long you been using him for?
Oh, wow. 8...
Since the last fight.
Yeah, since the last fight.
All right, good, man. Nice.
And when you leave things in the judge's hand, I mean, sometimes nobody wants to, but sometimes it just happens. And there's been some questionable decisions,
Lately.
Yeah, personally, I love Anderson, but I thought Derek Brunson won that fight,
Yeah.
and there's been a few times you're like, "Ugh."
The Holly Holmes one. I don't know if you saw that last one.
Oh,
That
against
was
Jermaine,
pretty
yeah.
close.
Yeah, I thought Holly had that. I remember thinking that.
especially after the second, was it like
Oh, there was some
Second
after
late
the
punch.
bell. Oh man, and those
Oh,
were the
after
hardest
bell
hits.
punches,
That's the hardest
no,
she
what
got
the
hit.
heck?
Yeah, Holly. Listen,
she's
like
appealing
Did
that.
she not
so.
even get warned? Did she get warned?
She got warned once, and he warned her again a second time, but they were both pretty flagrant.
I think she got warned on the second one. I don't think she really got a warning on the first one. He was like, "No, that was okay."
Oh, I
it
thought
wasn't
she
like an
did.
official
Gotcha.
warning. You know,
on the second one, that's when it's like, hey, listen, this could change the course of her next fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can't be taking these shots. It's
Yeah,
not
that
cool.
was, and she's appealing it. So again, she may or may not,
Yeah, I mean,
But-
what does that really mean with the whole? I mean, I don't know.
Dana was not happy that night.
Dana wasn't happy, but yet we talked about that. I enjoyed the hell out of that night,
I did too.
and I'm going to enjoy this weekend. Let me tell you.
Boom! What's funny?
Pow!
I watch other
I
guys
can't
that try
wait.
to fight like you, and I don't think they try to like look at Stephen Thompson. I'm going to fight like
Yeah.
you, but the way you're so scary for me to watch. 'Cause I really like you, and your arms are down in your head. I'm like, oh my god, he's just what a dangerous way, and you're so fast. You're able to do that, and then I see other guys doing that. I'm like, oh, he's not fast enough to
You
pull
were
that
saying
off.
that about Lando.
I don't think he's not fast enough, but I'm like, when you're coming into the UFC and you're fighting this level of fighter, I think these guys are a little quicker than he's used to.
I think it's
he got hit a few
that
hard
they
times.
know
yeah.
how to judge the distance and whatnot. I mean, you even got like Raging Al does that all the time too. It's a little different. He's got a little bit different style, but
But it's you watch Muhammad Ali. I mean, it was a way for me to distribute my weight a little bit faster.
Yeah.
You know, your hands up like Mike Tyson style. It's very hard to move your weight around because all the weight's up top.
Okay.
So when your hands are down, you can move. You can distribute your weight a little bit easier. And the guys, most people when they fight, they look up here, they look in your face. So if your hands are there, they see your hands at all times. But my hands are moving down here. It's harder to figure out where your hands are coming from.
Oh, whatever. I mean, it works. I mean, obviously, you've mastered the idea of getting back, and it just seems like you're trying to pull them in
I mean,
a little
sometimes
bit.
it doesn't work. I mean, I did get punched in the
Yeah.
head twice that last fight.
There's some guys that got their hands up and they're still getting punched right in the face.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
all how
A lot of
they
people
do
didn't
it.
like Tyson style. That whole Customado peekaboo thing. They thought was like they didn't like it. They criticized it. They thought that wasn't the right way to do it. And then I guess he goes, what was he, 30-0 or
Yeah,
whatever?
he's
And like,
crushing dudes, lifting people off the floor with his punches.
what do you think it is about him that makes people like as a fighter? We like a guy like Tyson so much. Like Larry Holmes, nobody gives a shit about. He was like, what, he went 49-0 or 48-0. Nobody talks about Larry Holmes and his big left jab. But Tyson, we just loved. He meant something to people for some reason.
I don't know. He just came out of nowhere. He was what 19 or 18, 19 when he first came in the pro scene. It just was crushing dudes. His whole physique. I mean, he was shorter
Yeah.
than most heavyweights. He was yoked, big thighs,
Big neck.
big thick neck. Just looked scary.
He looked the part. I mean, he was the whole package, man. He looked the part. Even the lisp, everything
Yeah.
was just, you know.
Maybe, yeah.
Might sound like Cindy Brady, but he'll fucking knock your head off.
Yeah. Maybe that was it. He doesn't sound like a tough guy.
No, then
On the
all-
phone, you'd be like, oh, fuck, I saw. Then he shows
And
up
even
and
that
he-
whole dynamic with him and Customado, that was it was something really cool about it.
He talked about how crazy Customado was too. He said he used to have guns. And we read his book. Yeah, he said he would come home sometimes and Cus would be like laying on the floor pointing a gun out the door.
Oh, shut
yeah,
up.
he was really a nutty guy.
Wow.
Yeah, really a nutty dude.
Yeah?
That would freak me out.
And before we continue, look, I want to stop. And I asked you this morning too. I'm always fascinated with you guys the week of a fight. You know, you got to fly to Vegas. You got to do interviews. Don't you just want to be left alone and not?
You do. You want to be, man. I mean, you want to sit there and focus on the fight. But I like it because it helps me get out, helps me keep my mind right. So you're not sitting in the hotel worrying about it. What's going to happen? You know, you sometimes you can worry yourself to death. But when you go out and do these things, it keeps you busy and keeps your mind going. You know, up until the fight. So it's good.
Do you feel more or less pressure, do you think, than Tyron is feeling right now? Because you were literally going for the belt again. He has it and has to defend it again against the same guy who he just could not put away.
Well, for me, I don't like looking at it as if I have to win this fight. You know, I fight because I love to fight. You know, my real job, I consider my real job is, you know, teaching kids classes back at our family business. I fight for the fun of it, you know. I don't have to fight to make a living.
Right.
So I look at it as if I win, man, of course, every time I step out there, I give it 100%. And I would be disappointed in myself if I didn't. But it's just another fight for me, man.
Yeah, you said you weren't 100%, I think, in the last fight. You had indicated in some interviews that you weren't 100%. What was different about last fight, or why were you not feeling you were 100% in that first fight?
You know what? It's weird because, you know, I think even in sparring and just your daily life, you have good days and you got bad days. And I think that one just landed on a fight. I'm going out, you know, performing in front of millions of people. And for the title fight, I don't know, I just didn't let everything loose. I didn't let my hands go, didn't let my kicks go, didn't switch sides, weren't working the angles that I normally do. I just felt it was a really weird sensation. You know, it was very low. I don't know why.
And yet you still did very well. Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? I mean, I thought you won the fight. I thought it came down to the 5th round. Again, there's arguments to be made about 10-8 and
Right.
and this and that. But I remember watching it live
Yep.
with Jimmy and saying it comes down to this 5th round, you know, and we thought you and won
We
the
did.
5th
We
round.
both thought you won. So
I mean-
Tyron called in, and I'm like, I thought you won, Tyron. That was just maybe a,
Oh no, he'll flip real quick. No.
but I really did think you won.
But now that like you've been in, and you're saying you felt like it was almost an off day of sparring, like that's how it felt.
it
That's
did.
interesting.
And it was weird because I didn't throw, you know, I just didn't let everything go. And if I would have done that, and that's why I was so disappointed, even though I didn't bring the belt home, I was disappointed in myself, but I was also proud of myself because where most people in that 4th round would have given up, I didn't, you know. And that just lets everybody know, hey, every time I step out there, even if I don't win, I'm giving you hell.
After the first round, did that change the way you fought the rest of the fight?
No, not at all.
It didn't at all. It didn't cause you to throw less kicks or anything like that?
Well, that's the thing. I threw a lazy kick. That was my fault. It's not like he shot him for a beautiful takedown.
Right.
He just caught a lazy kick.
Yeah.
And it was one of those kicks where I wanted to see where his hands were going to go. Of course, if his hands dropped, the next kick was going to the head, you know?
Yeah.
I just didn't pull it back fast enough. And, yeah, that was on me. I took myself down on that one.
Okay.
Pretty much. He just
Now-
caught the leg.
Now, having been in there for 5 rounds with him and you battled for 5 rounds, do you feel this second time going in there, now that you experienced, you know, his power and his strength and everything, do you feel more confident now going in? I mean, than when you fought him the first time? Like now you know what to expect type of thing?
Oh yeah,
Yeah?
That gives me all the confidence in the world going out there, knowing I took his best shot and kept on going. But I know he's going to make changes. I know he's a
course.
smart guy. He's going to make some changes, just like I have. So, you know, that's what makes the fight so interesting because
Yeah.
you never know the unknown. You know, you don't know what's going to happen out there. I think that's where you get that adrenaline
Oh, 100%.
because you don't know what's going to happen. You could
Yeah.
prepare yourself for your entire life, and still they hit you with that one shot.